to be agreed to. Ms Lauder.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm pleased to speak today a little bit about heritage. During the Estimates Committee process, we talked quite a bit about potential Apollo 11 anniversary projects, as we're now less than a year away from the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11 landing on the moon. And one of the things we did discuss was the upgrading of the track between Aurora Valley, Honeysuckle Creek, and including the Aurora Geodetic Dome. It's a lovely area and it will be a beautiful walk. I'm sure I'm looking forward to doing it myself once it's ready. However, it's largely going to be inaccessible to those people who participated in that mission back in 1969 because the upgrade is going to be suitable for an able-bodied person according to the budget papers. It was also interesting to gently question the Minister and his staff as they waxed lyrical about the importance of the Aurora Valley tracking station to that moon landing in 1969. Of course, Aurora Valley did not take part in that particular mission and didn't take part in the moon landings until one of the Skylab missions in about 1975, to my memory. There will also be a phone app to go with the walking track. The app will use the existing ACT Heritage Tracks app. So in effect, there's not a lot new there. And I know a number of the people who worked at Tibimbilla and at Honeysuckle Creek and Aurora Valley. Many of them are technicians and engineers and operators. They're very tech savvy, but not all of them are using apps at this point in their life. I encourage the Minister to keep working with relevant ex-staff and workers at the tracking station to identify suitable projects. I'm a bit disappointed that it wasn't specifically mentioned in the budget. There was a grant process and the walking track, but the walking track, of course, could have been done at any time. It's not necessarily linked to the Apollo 11 anniversary. Time is running out to ensure that there are appropriate commemorative activities, and I've listed many of them, including in a motion in this place a few weeks ago. On to the heritage assessment backlog. It's at 93, down from 320 10 years ago, so that is a good improvement. On average, that's 22 per year, but at this rate, it may be another 5 years until the backlog of assessments is completed. We've spoken before about whether that particular area is adequately resourced to undertake their work. The Minister assures us that is the case, but I guess at this rate of clearing of the heritage applications, I remain to be convinced. There were a couple of recommendations relating to heritage in the Estimates Committee report and the government response, including one about the Apollo 11 anniversary, one about the accountability indicators. I continue to struggle with those accountability indicators because I don't believe they adequately reflect the work that the Heritage Council undertake, and it would be good if more meaningful indicators were included in that. There's also a recommendation about the National Trust. The National Trust, ACT, doesn't get funded, despite the government funding a whole lot of other organisations. And it's one of those things, if you like, where you keep your enemies poor, so it's much more difficult for them to do their work. But I commend the work of those people of National Trust ACT for the work that they do, and again encourage the government to continue to work collaboratively, you know that word, with the National Trust ACT, and thank them for their work. I think in a general sense, we all acknowledge the importance of preserving and acknowledging our heritage, whether that's in the natural environment, in the built sense, cultural sense, and in other ways. Before I finish, I just wanted to make a few quick remarks about land release and housing affordability, mostly because it's something I've been very interested in for some time, and my interest in making a comment on that stems largely from acknowledging and agreeing with the comments made by my colleague Mr Coe about the price of land. If you look at historically how much it costs to purchase a house, it's not in the products or the materials to build the house. The largest increase has been in the price of land, and it's this government's policies which are feeding into that. Everyone acknowledges the importance of affordable housing in the ACT and that we need to do something to rectify it. But I've pulled up a speech that I gave in 2014. It's 4 years ago. It says in here, and again I encourage you to reflect on what Mr Coe has just said about the Anglicare National Rental Affordability Snapshot, which this year indicated that there were no houses in the ACT that were affordable to someone on a low income. What I wrote in 2014 just rings a chord with me. It says, from 4 years ago, Madam Deputy Speaker, the Anglicare National Rental Affordability Snapshot 2014 made it abundantly clear in the statement there were practically no affordable rental options found in Canberra or Queanbeyan for any of the low-income household studies. So, in fact, it's gotten worse in the past 4 years under this government.
That's right.
4 years ago they said there were practically none. This year there are none. And along the housing continuum, Madam Deputy Speaker, you know, we have homelessness at one end, we have private housing and home ownership at the other, and we have social housing and rental, private rental in the middle. And the problem is that for most Canberrans in that middle, they can't make the jump from social housing to private rental. The gap is too large for them. They simply cannot make it out of that system, and it's the government's policies that are